Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show. I'm your host, Anya, with Team Restream, and this is Creator Spotlight. Real quick, for those who are new for us today, we are running the show on Restream Studio, and this is the best and the easiest way to send your professional live videos to all social media channels at the same time. Ready for your own live show? Check us out at Restream.io/studio. Today, we are going to talk about online businesses and how to become successful utilizing the power of live streaming. My guest today is Kim Garst. She's a keynote speaker, author, online business strategist, and live video evangelist. Hello, Kim. Welcome to the show.
Hello, Anya. How are all those that are with us today? Let us know. We'd love to find out a little bit more about you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So we are going to start off with a quick question for you guys. We want to definitely understand a little bit better of who is in the room, in the audience today. So please let us know if you have an online business today. What kind of business is that? Like, what do you guys do, and what kind of like brings you here? What makes you interested in kind of like understanding how live video could help your business today? So remember that online business doesn't have to be necessarily something like course creation or educational content or marketing consulting. Even if you're a gamer, that could be your online business. Your online business could be something very practical, something crafty. You can make some product and sell it online. We would love to hear about those cases as well. So yeah, just let us know in the comments on what is going on and what you guys are working on. And I'm seeing some comments already. So DJ Steve says, "Hi there. I'm assuming your business is music or DJ sets. Correct me if I'm wrong." And we have also uh, Gita Radio or GITA Radio, online streaming radio station. That is amazing.
Ooh,
That's really cool.
yes.
That's beautiful. Yeah, and DJ Steve Jennings says Restream is fabulous, and we use it for live streaming our radio station as well. So that's awesome. A lot of radio stations today. That's beautiful.
Yes.
Uh, David is saying singer, songwriter, music producer. That's amazing. I would definitely love to hear a little bit more about this. Is this production that you do for yourself only, or do you also offer that as a service? Do you have clients that you're producing music or songs for? I think that would be really interesting to learn how Restream is helping there and kind of like what that process looks like. So that's amazing. Awesome. Great crowd here.
My first thought for Dave, and my question is, do you do music for like podcast intros or, live video shows? There's a need for stuff like that. So just asking, wondering if that's something you've considered, or if you're just in another kind of lane.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is amazing. That's actually a great question and a great idea. Business strategist checking in here as Kim, right? So
Income
yeah,
streams, I'm all about them. So
Exactly. No, that's amazing. Like that's a great opportunity to utilize your skill as music producer because there's a huge product market fit for that right now. Because think about how many people are going live. You have seen my little video pre-roll that I played. Of course, we kind of we made it internally. It was like very MVP, very very scrappy made. But a lot of companies are in need of those products right now, and podcasts are huge. Like they're going up. Lots of fans here today. Scott is saying, Kim, three
hey, Scott.
exclamation points. That's amazing. Hi, Scott. It's good to see you. Rhonda is checking in here. She's saying, welcome to today's discussion with Restream. Let us know where in the world you're joining from. That's a great question, Rhonda. I love to also, we love to make sure that, we understand what people do, but that's a great thing too. Just kind of like envision a map for where folks are joining and what we're doing today. And there is also Curious Tech Live. I have a tech related channel. I actually used Restream for my late night tech show last Monday. That's beautiful.
Mm,
I'm also considering doing a consultancy business to help businesses generate leads on YouTube. That is huge right there, Curious Tech Live,
yes.
because that's for us as a brand. Like Restream does partner with people who create content, and YouTubers are big, big goal for us. We are definitely targeting folks who are
Mhm.
creating content around live video production, video and social in general. So hit us up after the show. Maybe we'll want to talk to you and review your channel. So that
Yeah,
would be
definitely.
interesting. Yeah, lots of cool stuff here. Dave says, at the moment, I just write for a 6-piece rock band and a couple of cover duos. That's amazing. I love
Okay,
covers.
that's awesome.
Love covers.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm just saying, you might think about exploring those other options too. Revenue streams are amazing things.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Guitar Radio says we are from Iowa, amazing. And DJ Stevens mentions that so he is in UK, so that's where they're streaming. Hello and welcome to the show. Amazing.
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
all right, so let's get on to this. I think I want to start with the question that I like to ask folks here at Creator Spotlight. As a live video evangelist, why is it important for you to go live on multiple social channels? Like, because there are some opinions about that. Like, should you focus on one platform only, or should you go as wide as possible? What's your take on that, Kim?
So my take is time is our most valuable commodity if we are a business owner or otherwise. I mean, honestly, even if you're not a business owner, time is the one thing we can't get back, right? And from a connection and leveraging that time efficiently, I absolutely go live in multiple places at the same time. And I'm very transparent about that because I do believe that there are differences in social platforms and how you connect and create and the types of content that you create. But for me, because I'm trying to save, first piece of it is trying to save myself time and leveraging my time more efficiently. So I do go live in multiple places. And like I say, I'm very honest and transparent about that. And then we try to engage. I have somebody in from my team on with me, not physically on the show, but monitoring all the social platforms so that we make sure we're engaging in those places if we need to. Now we also use Restream, so we engage within the comments, that you can see in the sidebar. But we also go back to those social platforms after the show is over. Make sure that we, catch anybody who watches the replays and things like that. And I think that's really important. You can't just, go live in all the places and then ignore the people who potentially could watch you on a replay, because lots of times people don't catch you when you're live. So you have to plan for the replay as well.
Yeah, totally. I do have similar approach to that, especially for another show that I co-host, which is called Livestream with Restream. This is much more of a Q&A session about Restream products and features. And I always make a point, we go live to at least 3 platforms, always Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn, and we're adding Twitter from time to time. So what I try to do after each show is go back and see the comments and make sure that if we didn't address something, if we didn't have time to go in depth or like share certain links with people, we always come back and kind of like re-engage with those comments, because people appreciate that. People will show up again
Yes.
if you do that. So yeah, pro
Well,
tips all around.
and one quick strategy for that is I usually ask people that are watching on the replay to just drop in a comment with hashtag replay, so that when we go back to look for comments, we can do a quick search and find those people that weren't with us live. So that might be something just from a strategy perspective, so that they don't get lost in the shuffle.
That is amazing. And I'm going to implement this strategy right now. Folks, if you are watching us later, please hashtag replay in comments, whether you're on Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn, or anyway. And we will definitely be coming back to your comments. And if we see a hashtag replay, that means that you watched us later. So maybe we'll add some value to you in comments later on. So you also feel included and feel like this conversation actually was a two-way street and you were part of it, which I believe is very important for live streaming.
Yes.
So we have quite a range, of people here. Some people work with other businesses, other people create content for customers. So when you think about live video marketing and live streaming, what is the difference between B2B live video and B2C live video when you work with your clients and consult and advise?
Right. Well, when it comes to B2B, like I feel like that's my business model where, I'm selling a lot of my training and consulting and things of that nature to other business owners who are trying to leverage social and digital media to grow their businesses. And so a lot of what, from a strategy perspective, when I'm teaching people to leverage live video for those types of people, or those types of business owners, it's very comfortable for me because that's my zone. Like, right, I'm in that space. But when it comes to strategy, I think you have to understand what it is that you're after when you have a live show. If you are trying to build community, are you trying to educate? Are you trying to create sales? Because you can absolutely do any or all of those things. And sometimes they overlap, by the way. So I think you need to go into your live video journey with and each and every time you go live with a goal. I mean, one big goal could be two, maybe three, but you need a goal. Like, you always want to engage your community. I think that's first and foremost. Bring value to the community, the viewers that are watching. But you can also sell if you want to. Now, if you're a B2C, I've helped a lot of B2C companies with physical products in particular, because I think physical products are very easy. Like, just, it's
Yeah.
awesome. I mean, it's official. You're awesome. This is a mug for my new store, right?
Yeah.
Or I just happen to have them sitting here on my desk. But point is, I could go live and I could talk about and I could show this particular thing because I can hold it and people can see it. If it's a digital product, I can't do that. I can tell people about it. I can showcase the value. I can promise an outcome. But when you can physically hold something or you can showcase a physical product, it's a totally different thing. So I have one client who she has two boutique stores in Canada. And when COVID happened, people couldn't come into her stores. And she's like, now what? And I said, go live, talk to your community on your Facebook page, in your Facebook group. And she has had her best year ever because she did that. She was selling out of her inventory in one live show because she was talking about it, showing it, and people were like, yes, I want one. Drop it in the size in the comments, and boom, her inventory was gone. So, her in that particular case, her first focus from a goal perspective was to create sales. But the other amazing thing that happened was the incredible community that she created. I mean, she had a community before, but because she had shop night, essentially, all these ladies were coming and hanging out and bringing their wine and shopping together in a virtual environment. And she now has incredible community around her business. So it's really kind of an amazing thing that happens when you focus on how you show up and bring value, whether you have a physical product or you have a digital product, or you are just there to bring value in some capacity.
Yeah, that's an amazing story. Creative approach pays for sure. And whenever people say, oh, live streaming is not for me, this is not for my industry, I always tell people, well, it's not about your industry, it's not about your product, it's about how you approach it and exactly
Mm-hmm.
showing up, bringing value, engaging your community. It definitely helps your sales much more than just some kind of like an old proven I'm going to send an email and see what happens, right?
Yeah.
I want to make sure we address question from Victor here. He asked a little earlier, is it recommended? That's kind of related to our previous little blurb about should you run your stream by yourself or should you have a co-producer with you? So the question is, what's the best practice? And is it better to have one person involved or one person on camera as a host and another person watching chats and kind of helping with the housekeeping? So I'll let you answer that, Kim, and
Okay.
then I'll tell folks like how I do this on Restream side of things.
You can absolutely be a solo operation with Restream. I mean, it makes it so easy to go live and manage all the pieces. Now, I have done all the things when it comes to live video. So I started live video in the early days of Periscope, way back, like I think it's been 7 years or so ago. I've probably had 1,000 or more live videos over the time from then to now. And I've managed my own shows, and I've had other people. I've had a production crew managing my shows as well, where they all I'd have to do is show up. But Restream allows us to do all the things. There's no need for a production team. I don't have one anymore. I manage everything right within the platform, so I can manage. I can see all the comments. I can bring them on the screen, just like Anya is doing right now. I can manage, video snippets if I want. I can pull in guests. I can pull up, custom graphics, all the things that I would have normally I had my production team do. I don't have to worry about that anymore. I can manage it all right within Restream. Now, I do have someone from my team on in the comments, just to make sure, like, if like sometimes people say, well, where do I find like that thing you just talked about? Like, and so she'll do the research and, pop in a link or whatever. So she does a lot of the follow up with the viewers. And my focus is just managing the questions and bringing those questions in, and having the conversation with my guest and that kind of thing. And then she focuses on the rest of it. But that you wouldn't necessarily have to have that person. You could totally do this as a one man or one woman show.
One woman show. That's us.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I definitely have similar approach here. With Creator Spotlight, it's a one woman show, one woman band. For me, I do have a little bit of help, just basically people waving me a thumb up that yes, you're live, everything is fine. So I don't have to open all the platforms and make sure that the stream actually went there. But other than that, yeah, it's everything is controlled by me. Luckily, this show, Creator Spotlight, is very nice and wild. We don't have like thousands of people here, which makes it much more intimate experience, which is what I love about this show. The other show that we stream, which is Livestream with Restream, the Q&A session, we have a running chat. It looks like freaking Call of Duty on Twitch. Like it just goes and goes. And for that, we do use some of those techniques that you mentioned. So we first of all, we co-host. There are two hosts at the same time because one person is picking the question while the other person is answering the previous question. And that's how we kind of like switch and rotate. So
Yeah.
we can address as many concerns as possible. And we also have a person in the chat exactly for that reason. So if there's a link that needs to be dropped, if there's any specific thing that we need to point the users to, that's what that person is going to do, as well as make some notes for our product and development team, because Restream is all about feedback loops. If you guys need something, if you have a feature request, if you have a concern, we want to take it and we want to run with it and give it to people who make decisions and make sure that it makes it to the roadmap. So that's kind of the experience we're trying to build, because this is definitely like interactive, engaging, communicative is my way and Restream way. So that's what we're always trying to do. Many questions coming in here, which is absolutely amazing. So we'll keep bringing them on. So Rebecca here is sharing a really cool story. She's saying, I don't sell digital products, and I've been using Restream Weekly since October. Any suggestions for best practices for how to sell non-physical items and how to kill it while doing it? That's a good one. So basically, Rebecca says that she's going live on LinkedIn, right? And so let me actually look at your question here for just a second. So she's doing some challenges, and she's also basically trying to figure out how to monetize that digital product. And maybe there is a quick follow up here. I don't sell. Yeah. So if you can let us know what non-physical products they are, I think it's going to be very helpful for us, right, Kim? But
Yeah.
just in general, what's the strategy? How to start killing it?
So, you've got several things I'd like to address in that. One, you don't sell digital products, so I would love to know what you do sell. Like you said, one of the things that I have found from a sales perspective, and this is kind of it's not a new strategy in the context of people doing it or whatever, but a lot of people have gotten the message that this works. And from a live video perspective, and where we are in COVID times, I think this is an extremely powerful strategy. And you are already doing it, challenges. So let's dig into challenges a little bit more, and why they work and why they're so popular right now, and why they lead to the money. Okay, that's the sweet spot is actually. So live video is the fastest path to the know, like, and trust factor. People have to know, like, and trust you before they open their wallets and they spend money with you or they throw their credit card at you, right? So, if you are serious about creating sales in your business or upping your sales, then live video is an amazing opportunity for you. Now, let's talk about challenges and why they're so popular, why they're working, and how they lead to the money, real quick. I think if you're going to do a challenge, I think it needs to be a short challenge. I've tried 5 days, I've tried 7 days, I've tried 30 days. Do not do 30 days. I'm just saying, it's way too much. You lose people. But if you have a 5-day challenge, I found that's kind of like the sweet spot where you're teaching people something or you're sharing something that's transformational for them over like the first 4 days, for example. And then on the fifth day, you sell them into something. Okay, why is it that it works? It's working because you've spent time with people. You've helped them in some capacity. You've built the know, like, and trust factor. And a percentage of those people are absolutely going to throw their credit card at you. So I'll give you a quick example. One of my mastermind students recently did a challenge. She had 30 people, and she conducts her challenge in a Facebook group, and that's the way we do ours too. She had 30 people in her challenge. And when she did the 4 days of training, and on the fifth day, she did a training that had a opportunity to work with her directly. And 9 of the 30 took her up on her coaching package. So she ended up creating like $20,000 in revenue from a 5-day commitment. But she used the power of live video to really, one, to deliver the content and share that with her people. And to really, the big goal, though, was to get them to know, like, and trust her and to deliver great value to them so that when she asked for the sale, it worked. So that's a really good strategy from the perspective of getting to the money quick. And one other strategy I have for you that has worked really well for me is, I call it, and it's nothing new. It's even a sales page strategy, but you're doing it live, where you go live with a problem that your community has. Like I'll just give you a quick example. I did this. And I'll tell you the money amount just in a moment. But going back to Periscope in the early days, a lot of people were very curious about Periscope. How do you do it? How do you make money with it? And so I created this little course on how to leverage Periscope to grow your business. Anyway, I went live. I said, I jumped into Periscope. I had all these questions myself. I had just been figuring it out. I did the deep dive, and now I'm willing to share everything I learned. And, here, so it's basically state the problem, agitate the problem, or sympathize with the problem, and then you make an offer on how they can solve the problem. You've got a solution to the problem. And I created over $12,000 in sales, actually $15,000 in sales in 12 minutes. So it goes back to, making sure that you show up, you outline the problem. Like I say, it's a very simple strategy. Outline the problem, agitate it, and empathize with the problem, and provide a solution and give them a way to purchase.
Amazing. Yeah, so simple, hard to do, but so simple when you think about it on the high level, right? And I see Rebecca is following up for those people who are trying to understand, what is Rebecca selling? It is actually social coaching and digital marketing.
That would be perfect. So the challenge example that I gave you,
yeah,
absolutely perfect.
absolutely. That's amazing. And and Rebecca is also following up once again with, yes, that's exactly what I need to do. And I would be very interested to find out how your client closed the 9 customers. So for those who are interested, actually, I'm going to display this real quick here and reintroduce you for those who is experiencing us as a podcast, because we do repurpose this live shows into a podcast for those people who prefer audio only. My guest today is Kim Garz. She's a keynote speaker, author, online business strategist, and live video evangelist. Kim is also one of Restream partners and evangelists and brand ambassadors. And if you want to connect with her, this is how you can find her on Twitter at Kim Garst. And you can also find her website, which is kimgarst.com. that's the best way to connect and work with Kim. So those questions, how exactly those clients did that, what can I do to have similar experience, that's the best place to go and make those things happen. So, all right. So I see there are some really cool questions coming in. Some are kind of Restream specific, and I see that some of our team members are also jumping in the chat and like helping out with this. Can you use green screen in Restream? Yes, you can, but you need to use OBS to do that. So basically, you have to create your scene in OBS, use the green screen from there, and then add OBS as a source. You can actually do that in Studio using our Team People feature, which is relatively new. And virtual backgrounds in Restream, again, using the same OBS workaround, you can get there. We don't support it in the studio space just yet, but in other platforms that connect with Restream, you can definitely get there. And thanks, Benjamin, for jumping in and sharing the responses. So my next question for you is actually about podcasts. We kind of mentioned that early on in the beginning in conversation about creating music for podcasts. So when we're thinking about podcasters and how many different businesses are adding that to their marketing strategy, how effective podcasts are, when people think about podcasts, how do you recommend they connect podcasting and live video streaming on social? Like how to think about those together?
Okay, I think it's even bigger than podcasting. But I love that you brought this question up because it goes back to that one time slot that I mentioned before, where you go live in all the places. You have one piece of content that can be broke down into multiple pieces of content. One is stripping the audio off of it and turn it into a podcast. That's exactly what Anya plans to do with this. She referenced it where, there's going to be a podcast version of this for the audio listeners, right? So if you've ever wanted to have your own podcast, but you didn't necessarily want to try to figure out how you're going to do a podcast and how you're going to do a show and how you're going to blog and all this stuff. Like, right today, there's so much stuff. So what if you could just sit down, do an interview style show, or just share 3 ways to do why, whatever type of content that you wanted to create. And then in that one block of time, you could take that piece of content, you have the video, obviously, you could strip the audio off and turn it into a podcast. You could turn that original video content into multiple social media posts. You could clip it. You could, you could turn it into stories. You could do all kinds of things with it. You could transcribe it and create a blog post out of it. So my belief is, and one of the things that I'm doing from a strategy perspective is sit down, create one piece of great content, and then leverage the heck out of it. Meaning, we take our live show and we turn it sometimes up to 200 pieces of content. So it turns into stories, it turns into quotes for social media, it turns into a blog post, a podcast, all the stuff that we're out there trying to hustle and create independently of one another. We're like, okay, what are we going to post on social media today? And instead of letting the one piece of content be the content for all of the places that we need to show up, that is leverage. And I'm a big fan of the concept of live video and then using that piece of content in all the places. And then our messaging is succinct everywhere. And we don't have to struggle with the content piece. We're out there hustling for the next piece of content because we know we have to create content. When if we just created one really great piece of content and then leveraged it instead of letting it set, like sometimes people will create live videos and they do it and they forget it. Like they don't repurpose it at all. It's just gone. So I challenge you, if you're doing live video, to leverage it.
Totally, and that's what we teach here as well as Restream team for our communities. Your live stream is not over when you click that end stream button. I know it feels good to do that and feel like, all right, I'm done. Take your headphones off, throw this microphone away, and just be like, I'm done, I'm free. But a lot of work can be done post production, and that post production a lot of time is extremely valuable because that is a time saver, right? Like you already worked hard to find Kim, to engage her in this conversation, to bring her, to book her time. So she's sharing a bunch of amazing stories and like use cases. So it is going to be extremely valuable for our community to get a little clip of that, to hear it as a podcast, to see a little audio clip somewhere on social media. So that's definitely, repurposing is the key, and that's super important. A couple more questions here that I've loved. I love when people highlight something and point out something that we did on the stream, and they're like, "How did you guys do that?" Like that just gives me chills, like and happy dance. How did you do that overlay that Curious Tech says with sites that were cut? I'm going to show you guys again, so just so we know what we're talking about. So this is the overlay that we designed. So like those cuts, it's basically an overlay that we designed in basically design program. It's called Figma, but you can do the same in Canva or Keynote. So we created part of that overlay, and we left some transparent spaces, and that's what you can do in Restream Studio by uploading those overlays. They can be customized, and they can be also interchangeable in your graphic design program. So like, for example, now I have Kim, I can change the guest name for every time while I have that template, and that creates this like really nice experience. And of course it's spotlight themed, so like we have those lights everywhere because that's the name of the show. But yeah, that's how we do it. And we actually are starting a show about how to create graphics for Restream Studio, I believe next week. It's going to be called Bradley Teaches Graphic. One of our partners and influencers is teaching how to create those designs. So check that out and sign up for that if you want to learn more. And yeah, so amazing comments here. So Greenbox says, that's so cool. Endless possibilities. That's for repurposing. 100% with you on that one. And then also a comment from Curious Tech, loving the potential to repurpose the content, one content multiplied or amplified, as we like to say, right? They
Mhm.
just amplify your message, amplify your brand. And
So I
yeah.
just want to drop a comment in because it's so relevant to this conversation right now. But my friend Ian Cleary um, said one time, I heard him say this, and it's just really stuck. But he said, don't create content if you don't have a plan to amplify it. So think about that for a second. Like, we're creating content all the time. Do we have a plan? Is there, now I'm very intentional with my content. How can I leverage it? Where can I share it? It's not a one and done. Like my blog is, shared routinely. My blog content is shared routinely on the socials. I don't share it once when I first write it and then it's, forgotten. So think about that. How do you leverage the content that you're creating to the maximum? It's leverage, and most I would say this, most are not doing that super well. So, and why create more when you haven't really leveraged the thing that you just created?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, just a couple of more comments before we move on to another question that I had for you. So first things first, Mark V is asking about displaying videos on Instagram. I'm assuming that's for repurposing or using Yellow Duck. Mark, I see your comment. I'm going to get back to you on LinkedIn and give you a couple of links on that. It's just like a little
Yeah.
lengthy process. So just to know that I'm acknowledging, like I know exactly what you're talking about. And Kim, if you have any advice
Yeah,
here, please
actually, I do. I was just going
go
to
for
share
it.
real quick. There's a couple of tools out there that make repurposing a lot simpler. There's repurpose.io is one suggestion. And then I'm very excited about a tool that I found about a year or so ago. It's called vid.io. It's VEED. So like kind of like video, but it's with ease, VEED.io. And they allow you to take your live show and import it in. You can take snippets out of it. You can create different sized videos. So it's a nice, and it does captions and a lot of things like that. Or you could use like, InVideo.io, I think, is another resource. They're not technically a repurpose tool, but the other tool definitely are. The other tool, man, saying that is hard to
Mm,
say. The other two tools, there you go, are definitely
got it.
repurposing tools.
Amazing. And Rebecca has another question about Clubhouse and Restream. So we actually do have a video on that because we experimented with that a little bit. How can you multi-stream your Clubhouse, or can you stream your live content to social platforms and also to a Clubhouse room. So we do have a video about that. Kim, if you're an expert, feel free to jump in. And
No, I'm not. I know my friend Jeff C. Experimented a little bit with this. When Clubhouse first kind of opened their doors, and then I know my friend Pat Flynn has been doing this. He has a live show on YouTube, and he has been leveraging that on that same show on Clubhouse. So it can be done.
yeah.
If you've got like the tech side of it, you've got a video for that. Yeah, definitely share that because I'm not sure what the tech side of it looks like.
Yes, we do. It does require an audio interface,
Yeah.
so it's a little bit techy to do that. And we do have a video about that, so I'll definitely share with you guys after the stream. Just remember, there are certain limitations in terms of what Clubhouse allows and doesn't allow in terms of their privacy policy. So when you're thinking about restreaming or repurposing your Clubhouse room talk, just be aware that there are certain limitations in terms of what you can record and how you have to make sure that people who are in the room are aware of what you're going to do with that
Yeah.
content if you record it. So that there's some like legal slash ethical limitations there that you need to keep in mind. But other than that, yes, that there's definitely a video that I will share with you guys
Well,
after
I've been a
this.
guest on Pat's show on Clubhouse, actually. And, just as coming on the stage over there. And he was very clear. Like, as soon as, even before I spoke, he would say, okay, Kim, I need you to agree. So I had to give verbal agreement that it was okay. He was very transparent, in other words, that this was a live show on YouTube, and you had to give permission to make sure that he was in compliance with Clubhouse's rules.
Amazing, amazing. And great question here from Greenbox again. Kim, how long does it take for you to plan out and stream before you hit the live button? Love that question. Very simple, very easy, but million answers depending on creator.
Uh-huh.
What's your journey,
And
Kim?
honestly, it depends on what the goal is for the show. If I'm just going live and I'm going to share, like somebody asked me a question, and off the top of my head, I can go live and answer that question. No prep, like right. If I'm going to interview someone. Which is that's kind of my style of a show. I have a marketing that grows your business show every Monday morning at 10 a.m. And it's a interview style. So I do have to do some prep for that. I do, come up with a topic in conjunction with the speaker or the guest, and then I do research to find out like what questions I'm going to ask. Now I will say this: I'm almost like, why do I even bother coming up with questions? Because what usually happens, and maybe this is just me, but Anya and I was talking about this before, where we always have questions, but we are very in tune with the community. What questions does the community have? And then based on the conversation with my guest, the questions I always deviate. So I'm almost like, well, why even bother sometimes with all the question prep? But like I say, I do the question prep. If I'm going to go live and just share an experience, again, no prep. I think you can have either or. I think there's a place for either and both.
Absolutely, absolutely. I can say that for me, the more regular the stream or the show is, less prep time I need because a lot of things are already prepared, templated. I don't need to think about graphics from scratch. I don't need to think about my plan and my experience with that specific person that I'm going to interview. So for something like Creator Spotlight, I would say my prep time is about 45 minutes. That includes booking the guest. Well, that doesn't include massive research that I do, of course, on the guest and like thinking who I'm going to have. That's just kind of like part of my general awareness of what I do as an influencer marketer. But once I know who I want to interview, preparing questions for them, scheduling everything, preparing graphics, it's about 45 minutes to 1 hour, and the stream itself is about 45 minutes. So it's relatively it's not very labor intense compared to a lot of things that people do. But of course, if it's something very unique, if it's a co-marketing campaign with another big brand, and we have a bunch of different moving pieces, of course, that might take a little longer. But generally, yeah, like my take is that the consistency and how many times you did that type of content, that's going to reduce your prep time big time because you'll be so much more ready.
And I wholeheartedly agree with you. Once you have your systems down, things like, when it comes to time, like there's prep time or sharing and scheduling and letting people know and all that kind of stuff that my team usually does, that I don't necessarily have to worry about anymore. But again, anybody can do this solo. You just have to know, once you get the repetition of it down, then it's super easy. I mean, if you're going to share it, share like an hour out, or, send an email the day before, whatever that you're going to do to get people to your show, you'll have a set thing, a set series of things, and it'll just become easier and easier to just knock it out.
Totally, totally. And yeah, so Cornerstone Chapel says, is there any demo video on those virtual backgrounds that Benjamin is talking about? I just mentioned in the comments that it's a great idea. I'll be on it right after the stream. We'll figure it out and make a video for you. That's actually brilliant, because a lot of people are asking. And Rebecca mentioned that there's a point where she gets stuck with Clubhouse. I will definitely get back to you also after the stream and either connect you with our support team so they can brainstorm and kind of like figure it out with you, or we'll look at the video together again and see what's going on there, and like what's that point where you get stuck, and how we can overcome that. My last like wrapping up question for you, Kim, would be regarding courses, webinars, and live streaming on social. So this is something that you're very successful with. Like that's your online business. That's what you were able to build from scratch and turn it into a very successful use case. So you do a lot of courses, you do a lot of webinars, you do a lot of one-on-one consultations and teaching for entrepreneurs, business leaders, marketers. How do you see this combination? How do you benefit from both worlds, and how do you do those two kind of works, two missions together? The webinars, educational contents and consultations, and live videos on social available for your followers.
Well, I leverage live video to first and foremost to build the know, like, and trust factor, with content. So my first goal when I go live is to bring it. Like I don't want to go live and not have, and sometimes I almost do it to a little bit too much, in the sense that I don't feel I share a lot of personal stuff. Like I don't go live just to talk about putting my eyelashes on, like, that kind of thing. I'm usually about the business side of it. Whereas I know there's a lot of people ask me all the time, like, how do you put, I mean, they ask me about my eyelashes. That's why I bring them up. But for me, I usually focus on the content, and making sure that because my core, like deep down, is goes back to my early days as an entrepreneur, and this struggle of learning, because there was no resources. I mean, my first business I started back almost 30 years ago. I've owned an online business that long, and so my core, like so passionate about, is shortening the learning curve of other people. And I know time is valuable, so a lot of times when I go live, I want to make sure that I'm leveraging my knowledge in such a way that I can, impart things as quickly as I can to people, at the same time, showing up in a way that's relatable to people. And
Awesome.
so that's kind of my first thing when it comes to live video. But a lot of my business is focused on education, and whether it's just sharing things my experiences or strategies, or things in social, news, whatever those things are. And then I do have deeper dives when it comes to content, meaning courses. I have my Business Builders Academy, which has well over, I think, 50 or 60 what I call mini courses in that environment. So I definitely leverage the power of live streaming to attract my person to me, and then to serve them deeper through content. Some of it's
Totally.
courses, some of it's my blog, some of it's videos, some of it's my live show. But how do I show up and, make the complex marketing that all the bits and pieces that are out there today? How can I simplify that so that other people can take it into their businesses and leverage it to create more money?
Absolutely. And to add on to that, I like to think about that as exactly like pieces of one ecosystem. So your live shows should support your courses. Your courses
Yes.
should support the fact that you are a live streamer, you're an expert in that space. And there is definitely evidence there online that people can join free series and watch you on Facebook, or they can come to a closed Facebook where they can get more content and something exclusive, something special for that community. And there are also courses and even one-on-one coaching sessions if you really want to dive deep into your specific issue and want to get your expertise and your knowledge to solve that one problem that you're stuck with. So that's definitely like it's all the system that supports each other, and it's all kind of like part of one world where like those different pieces cater to different people and kind of like create different touch points. I know I promised this was the last question, but there's one more that I like to ask people. And you guys in the chat are welcome to also answer, because I'm always curious to hear what people say. So, what's one piece of gear that you cannot do without when you're thinking about live streaming? So, I like to say, imagine you were dropped in the deserted island and you still have your laptop, of course, and you somehow magically have internet connection. What's that one piece of external gear that you would want to bring with you in order to continue your live show? Because you kind of have to, right? Because what
Oh
else?
boy, yeah. Well, my first, so it would need to be an external thing. So
Um,
Restream is awesome from like a tool. Like if you need a web-based tool, it's great because you can go live in multiple places. And there's some other things.
yeah.
It's great. But I'd have to say my lights. I have a couple of Elgato lights, and I love my ring light. I used to call it Botox in a bulb, because it like smooths our face out, makes us ladies and guys look a little younger. But what I love about the Elgato lights is the ability to control them from my desktop or from my phone, and I don't have to, like, based on lighting or whatever in my my location. I actually have several sets in my office. So on the flip side of where I'm sitting right now, I have I have a standing desk, and all I have to do is flip my lights around. Obviously, if I'm on a beach somewhere, I wouldn't have this set up, but I would like to have good light source because looking good's half the battle.
Absolutely. 100% agreed on lights, because the best camera in the world with really bad lighting is not going to do any good. And the very simple, the most basic and budget wise small camera in the world with amazing lights is going to do magic. Like that's what I always say. And I'm also in a team Elgato here, and definitely using key lights for this setup right here. And I see that someone in the comments already asked us if we were single. So obviously that thing works, as you mentioned. Like Elgato makes you look younger and more
I
attractive
get
somehow.
marriage proposals all the time. So, hey, I'm like, you obviously don't know how old I am.
It's like, if that's what you're looking for, guys, Elgato lights, that's your that's your thing. Well, Kim, thank you so very much for
You're
talking with
welcome.
us today. This was great to have you at the show. Thanks for the conversation, and thank you the community for showing up and asking your amazing questions. This was a lot of fun.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for having me. And thanks to all that came and joined us live and then are watching on the replay. Like I said before, time is valuable, and we appreciate the fact that you joined us.
Absolutely. And again, if you want to connect with Kim, this is how you find her, kimgarst.com, to connect or work with her. And this is our show today. I appreciate you all coming in. Again, my guest was Kim Garst, keynote speaker, author, online business strategist, and live video evangelist. This is Creator Spotlight. I'm your host, Anya, with Restream team, and I'll see you in a couple of Wednesdays. Bye, y'all.